The National Desk, America's News, now.
The decision is in. The DOJ will appeal the ruling banning the travel mask mandate. But how long it took to make that decision, getting some criticism.
It could be solved for by CDC being a more competent agency.
Right now, the renewed debate over the balance between science and politics. And we ask a doctor for her medical opinion on the mandate being dropped. A new survey shows buying a home is out of reach for more Americans than ever.
We're simply not building enough homes.
It's absolutely essential to restore price stability.
What the Fed is doing now to cool red-hot inflation. And our fact-check team looks into past recessions and how they could help us avoid one today. Plus, Title 42 causing more controversy. A new report warning border officials could run out of steam.
We don't have the resources.
The increasing pressure for the White House to act. This is the National Desk, America's News Now. I'm Eugene Ramirez, and on this weekend edition, we take a look at the big headlines of the week and a look ahead at what to expect. We're following 4 big stories for you this week. The border crisis picking up steam as the expiration date for Title 42 nears. The federal travel mask mandate declared unlawful, but now the Biden administration deciding to appeal. The United States sending more weapons to Ukraine, including one that's never been seen before. And the Federal Reserve giving us a clear idea of how it plans to deal with record inflation. We start in Philadelphia, where the indoor mask mandate has now been lifted. Officials say the City Board of Health voted to rescind it just 3 days after it was reinstated after reviewing the latest COVID numbers. Right now, all but 14 states are seeing an increase in new cases in the last 2 weeks. But overall, deaths and hospitalizations continue to fall all across the country. Now, despite these promising signs, there's still debate over whether or not masks should be required, particularly on public transportation. The National Desk political correspondent Scott Thuman looking at the fight over masking up and whether or not Americans trust the government to make the right call.
With a mix of masked and maskless, travelers unsure if the rules will change yet again. And many flight crews cheered the switch, only to wonder what the future of flying will look like.
This is going to create a situation where flight attendants are essentially creating the smoking and non-smoking sections on the planes like we used to.
The White House has long said only science and data would drive its decisions.
We recognize people are tired of the pandemic. They're tired of wearing masks. What our focus is on is looking at the data and the science.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Though now indicates Americans' feelings help strengthen their case.
Public polling does not actually show that there is a universal view of people getting rid of masks. It doesn't matter to us because we are making our decisions based on public health and data and what the CDC is recommending.
The data is clear that air travel is not a vector of transmission for COVID-19. That's why the federal judge stepped in. The CDC is way past their boundaries here, but they've been willing to continue this because it's become politics, not science.
In the meantime, infectious disease scientist Marjorie Smelkinson says there are changes to be made.
COVID is here to stay. I think that everyone understands that at this point. We do need to be able to pivot to more long-term solutions, and these, endless mask mandates are just not what we should be focusing on.
She says we should worry more about getting people vaxxed, upgrading ventilation systems, and stockpiling therapeutics. In addition, she and others are calling for a more thorough investigation of the CDC's handling of COVID than the one it already announced.
This is not an independent review, and it's also only given a timeline of 1 month. And with all the policies that have been enacted and with all the mistakes that have arguably been made, it's just not enough time to go over everything. They need to be working on restoring trust.
Because, she says, the next health crisis could be just around the corner. In Washington, Scott Thuman for the National Desk.
This week in Washington, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell saying a 0.5 percentage point interest rate hike is, quote, on the table. The Fed, of course, working to get inflation under control by increasing the base rate. The central bank has hinted at a total 2% increase by year's end, and this means we can expect to pay more to borrow money to buy things like a house or a car. Interest rates on credit cards may also go up. Now, inflation, of course, driving this action from the Fed as American families are paying more for just about everything these days. The National Desk's Ryan Smith has that part of the story.
Many experts now saying the Fed was late in making moves to tame inflation. Chairman Jerome Powell now taking a hawkish stance, signaling another interest rate increase next month, with more to come. From the grocery store checkout line to buying a home, prices are rising at their fastest pace in more than 40 years.
We really are committed to using our tools to get 2% inflation back.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell vowing to raise interest rates swiftly in an effort to cool record-setting inflation.
The Fed is really trying to indicate that they're serious about getting inflation under control, and they know they need to. They know they're behind the game.
Duke University economist Connell Fullenkamp warns the cost to borrow money is only going up. But even if you're not in the market for a new car or home loan, consumers can still expect some price hikes elsewhere, as many companies will continue borrowing money on adjustable rates.
So the companies that we buy stuff from could also be having higher costs, and those interest costs could be being passed on to consumers in the future if the Fed keeps jacking up interest rates.
The USDA says food prices will increase 4% by the end of this year due to inflation. Thursday, Nestle reporting prices for products in North America jumped 8.5% in the first quarter. And just this week, buying a home got even more expensive.
With inventory so limited, you've got prices continuing to increase because buyer demand is just so very strong.
The average home price was more than $375,000 in March, according to the National Association of Realtors. A survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York finds only 43% of renters believe they'll ever own a home, the first time that number's dropped below 50 in the survey's history.
We're simply not building enough homes to actually meet the overall needs that we have in the economy.
That real estate CEO says it would take between 5 and 6 million homes built and sold to come close to meeting the housing demand right now. In Washington, I'm Ryan Smith for the National Desk.
And Americans expressing their dissatisfaction regarding some of our country's biggest problems. And new polls show it's not just those rising prices. Our fact check team looking into what else Americans feel needs fixing.
With inflation at 8.5%, you see those rising prices at the gas pump, the grocery store, and with many other life essentials. Our investigative producers tonight finding out that there are more issues, though, that are on the minds of Americans. Janae and Connor joining me back here tonight. Connor, we start with you. What else are people talking about?
Well, in the same Gallup poll that we used earlier, more than 2/3 of adults named non-economic issues as their main concern. And under this category, 22% of voters said poor leadership in the government was our country's top problem. As President Biden struggles with driving down inflation and handling the Russian invasion of Ukraine, his approval ratings continue to drop. According to the most recent Quinnipiac poll, 55% of voters disapprove of the president's job performance. But it doesn't stop with him. Another Gallup poll found that a majority of voters disapprove of Congress as a whole.
And Janae, tonight you're finding Americans also concerned with many issues happening overseas right now.
You're exactly right. That Gallup poll says that Americans listed the situation with Russia and Ukraine as the second most important non-economic problem facing our country. So the Biden administration has taken harsh action against Russia, including an oil ban and tough sanctions, and he continues to offer support and resources to Ukraine. Last week, President Biden authorized an additional $800 million in weapons, ammunition, and other security assistance to Ukraine. He has authorized more than $3 billion to them since taking office. Now, a Quinnipiac poll shows 39% of Americans approve of President Joe Biden's handling of the response to Russia's invasion, while 48% disapprove. The majority thinks the United States has a moral responsibility to do more to stop the killing of civilians in Ukraine.
The Fact Check team will continue to follow developments on this and several other important issues. You can also read this story with links to where Janae and Connor found all their information tonight on our website right there, thenationaldesk.com.
We're also following some new developments this week on U.S. aid to Ukraine as it continues defending itself from Russian invasion. A new weapon we've never heard of before. It's called the Phoenix Ghost, and it has similar capabilities to the Switchblade drone, which is the one you're looking at right here. 120 of these Phoenix Ghosts will be sent. The Pentagon only saying that UAV, or unmanned aerial vehicle, was developed by the U.S. Air Force specifically for the needs of Ukraine. Meantime, at the White House Thursday, President Biden announcing $800 million in military aid for Ukraine and another $500 million to support Ukraine's government salaries, pensions, and programs.
We're in a critical window now of time where they're going to set the stage for the next phase of this war. Putin has failed to achieve his grand ambitions on the battlefield. After weeks of shelling Kyiv, Kyiv still stands.
Well, in a move to further isolate Moscow, Russian-affiliated ships are now banned from American ports. In Columbia, South Carolina, all 3 suspects in last weekend's mall shooting have been taken into custody. Officers say 21-year-old Amari Sincere Jamal Smith turned himself in. 15 people were hurt in that shooting. Smith and the other suspects, Marquise Robinson and Joanne Price, are now facing 9 counts of assault and battery, attempted murder, and unlawful carry of a handgun. All 3 have been denied bond. A federal judge temporarily blocking Kentucky's abortion ban after the state's 2 remaining clinics said they couldn't meet its requirements. The law bans abortions after 15 weeks and requires women to be examined by a doctor before receiving abortion pills, but also contains some new restrictions and reporting requirements that the clinics say they just couldn't comply with right now, which could potentially bring fines and even felony charges. Kentucky among several Republican-led states that have passed restrictive abortion laws. The others include Florida, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arizona. The governor of Florida signing the measure ending one of Walt Disney World's biggest privileges. Ron DeSantis called for stripping Disney of its special district that allows it to mostly self-govern after Disney publicly opposed the governor's ban on certain gender and sexuality instruction in schools. Lawmakers passed that bill Thursday. Meantime, Democrats held a sit-in on the Florida House floor protesting another bill that also passed.
We're making good trouble. We're doing good trouble.
No member of this chamber has the opportunity to shut down our process.
Now, this controversy was over Florida's new congressional districts map, drawn in an unusual move by Governor Ron DeSantis. It breaks up a mostly black district, eliminating 3 Democratic districts. A speed bump warning missed time and time again. Coming up, why this section of road is so much tougher for drivers. Plus,
we always say that it takes a village to raise a child.
Child care costs keeping the nation from its post-pandemic recovery. How much money one state is budgeting to tackle the issue. You're watching the National Desk, America's News Now. Don't forget you can watch us live weekdays from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. till midnight Eastern Time, and anytime online at thenationaldesk.com. We're back after this. The National Desk's team of reporters bringing you the headlines from coast to coast. We are taking the pulse of America, and we start in California, where cars are flying over speed bumps, all of it caught on camera.
One family living on Chestnut has captured lots of vehicles on its doorbell camera going too fast over the speed bumps. At night, you can see sparks fly when a car bottoms out. What makes this street different, it has 3 sets of speed bumps between Ashland and Gettysburg Avenues. One homeowner who didn't want to talk on camera says the speed bumps ended racing down Chestnut. There have been slow speed chases down the street, 4 patrol cars in pursuit. City of Fresno says the speed bumps were installed before 1997. That's how far records go back, so there's no reason listed for them being placed on the street. It seems trucks do better moving too fast over the speed bumps than little cars. Remember, it's 10 miles an hour over speed bumps.
In Austin, Texas, city officials scrambling to build new fire stations to keep up with the city's growing population. In some areas, residents say emergency responders take longer than 10 minutes to get to the scene. The city currently funding 3 new firehouse construction projects, but some residents say the extra support just can't come soon enough.
I think there is a relief knowing that they're very close by, they're going to be able to respond very quickly.
Now, the city estimates all 3 fire stations will be operational within 6 years. According to insurance company CoreLogic, Austin ranks 5th in the U.S. for greatest wildfire risk. That's the highest of any city in Texas. In Ohio, a senior advocacy group says calls for financial help have increased by 30%. Seniors living on fixed incomes are being hit especially hard by rising inflation. With prices soaring, seniors are being forced to cut costs wherever they can.
You have to make a choice. Do you buy medication? Do you pay food? Do you go to the doctor, or do you pay your rent?
The Central Ohio Area Agency on Aging says the average fixed income for seniors is a little over $1,000 per month. As the nation works to bounce back from the pandemic, experts say one of the biggest economic issues right now is the cost of childcare. According to Child Care Aware of America, the average American family pays around $20,000 for childcare each year. The Northeast paying around $7,000, while the South paying closer to $19,000. Now, no matter the cost, rising prices have a lot of Americans tightening their budgets now. In New York, a multi-billion-dollar investment is being made to ease that burden a bit. The National Desk's Dan Trek explains in Syracuse.
We always say that it takes a village to raise a child.
Like most parents, Stevie Vargas wants the absolute best for her child. As a single mother of 1, she says one of the toughest challenges she's faced since adopting her 5-year-old nephew Peyton has been finding affordable childcare.
And when you have a child through the foster care system, they pay for all the child care expenses. But once you adopt them, they stop paying for that.
Vargas says the loss of financial support forced her to pull Peyton from the place he loved. According to the Economic Policy Institute, the average annual cost of infant care in New York is nearly $1,300 a month. For a minimum wage worker, that's 29 weeks of their gross pay, a massive burden for a family of any size. And for families at or below the poverty line, the cost makes the service virtually inaccessible. It's an issue we reported on just last month.
Poverty is a very simple issue. It's a lack of resources, so additional resources to families is the best way to alleviate this problem.
A measure in the new state budget could help address this issue. A $7 billion investment over the next 4 years expands income eligibility, caps copays, and increases the market rate, broadening the child care options available. Additional funding by way of grants is meant to help child care providers.
And in particular, dedicating 75% of that money to support the incredibly underpaid caregivers who care for the next generation of our society.
Vargas says, had this budget been in place when her adoption was finalized, life may have been a little easier.
It means I wouldn't be stressed out all the time trying to navigate working and also accessing childcare. I'd already have it.
Marijuana dispensaries now open for business. The state that saw these long lines this week, and the state that's suing for people's right to smoke and bear arms. And a CDC asylum rule set to expire in weeks. Why some officials at the southern border now warn a disaster is coming. As of this week, adults 21 and older can now legally buy marijuana at dispensaries in New Jersey. Marijuana was legalized in that state back in 2020, but dispensaries couldn't sell it until Thursday. And you can see long lines at this dispensary that's in Bloomfield, just one of 13 licensed in New Jersey.
We've been hiding this for so long, and it's like now you can just walk in and get it.
I remember the conversations in the 90s were completely different from today. People are a lot more open, and I honestly would not have thought this day would have come.
18 states and the District of Columbia have legalized recreational marijuana sales. The House recently passed a bill that would legalize marijuana nationwide, and the Senate is currently considering a bill of its own. Meantime, Florida's only Democratic cabinet member, Agriculture Commissioner Nikki Fried, suing President Biden. She wants a question about marijuana use to be dropped from the federal background check process, which disqualifies legal marijuana users from buying guns. Our Megan O'Halloran asked her about that lawsuit this week.
This is something that I have been dealing with and hearing throughout my entire administration, that individuals having a medical marijuana card, whether or not they can still purchase guns. And so we've been working on this lawsuit for many years. And unfortunately, we all across the state and across the country were dealing with COVID, and it was all hands on deck to make sure that we got through this. And this is considered more of a friendly lawsuit. We called the White House before we filed the lawsuit, making sure that they understood what was happening, wanting to work with them to make changes to the ATF form, briefing the White House, briefing the Department of Justice.
So we're in hopes
to make sure that we're working together through this lawsuit.
Well, do you believe the Biden administration's federal questionnaire should be scrapped altogether or just amended?
Just amended. The federal government has absolute control over making sure that we have common sense gun regulations. I mean, look what's happening here in Florida and across the entire country. We know that, unfortunately, we are seeing so much gun violence across the nation. And so we have to do better to make sure that up in D.C. and as well as in our states, that we're doing common sense gun regulations to protect the people. So this is just regarding our medical marijuana patients, making sure that they have access to purchase guns legally instead of having to
go to... What
about
recreational marijuana?
Same thing. But the lawsuit is focused on Florida. Florida constitutional amendment in our state has the fact that you have a right to medical marijuana. And unfortunately, we're seeing patients all across the country having to make that decision whether to lie on a form or go into the illegal market to purchase a gun. And so this way is actually creating more safety on both sides, not putting people into the legal market, either having to purchase a gun illegally in the black market or purchasing cannabis in the black market. So this way, we're bringing everybody in, making it safe for everybody, making sure that everybody has a complete and thorough background check, which is something that I believe all of us agree upon.
Well, back to this concept of the questionnaire, which you said you do agree to in some capacity. It's meant to vet out potential gun owners' impairment. Should alcohol also be on that list, mental illness? I mean, where do you draw the line?
Look, I think the ATF form has drawn the line. They've been looking at this form and using these forms for a very long time. And I think that we all agree that we need responsible gun ownership. And so this is about, looking at what has been done at the federal level when it comes to cannabis reform. That's my issue, is making sure that patients here in our state are protected. They have a constitutional right to their medical marijuana here in our state, and making sure that they've got equal opportunities to purchase a gun lawfully with the complete and thorough background check.
Well, you're the only statewide elected Democrat running for governor in Florida against powerhouse Republican Ron DeSantis in a now very red state. Do you think filing this lawsuit will disenfranchise you from your Democratic base, maybe show division among your party and hurt your chances in the upcoming election?
Not at all. I think that once Democrats understand that I'm fighting for the people, that's what I've done my entire life. That's what I've done my 3.5 years as our only statewide elected Democrat, standing up for what we as Democrats believe in every single day. And in fact, what we are doing with this lawsuit is hoping to move the needle when it comes to federal changes into cannabis, as well as actually making it safer for people who are participating in our medical marijuana program.
Commissioner Fried, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.
And the National Desk also reached out to Governor Ron DeSantis for comment. We are waiting to hear back. Of course, you can look for updates on this story and others on our website, thenationaldesk.com. A judge rules masks cannot be required on planes, but do medical professionals agree? We ask a doctor and break down all the latest COVID headlines for you straight ahead. Taking a look at the top trending stories on our website right now. A Dollar General manager in Tampa, Florida has been fired for posting videos on TikTok showing staffing shortages and difficult hours. The New York Times reporting Disney has labeled Tinkerbell and Captain Hook as potentially problematic while deciding what classics to put on Disney Plus for streaming. And according to NASA, growing black holes are swallowing thousands of stars in space. Those stories and more available right now at thenationaldesk.com. And now let's get a look at the week ahead. A man claiming self-defense in the Capitol riots is soon expected in court. Jury selection for Thomas Webster, a retired New York City police officer, starts Monday. Webster says he was protecting himself when he tackled a police officer outside the Capitol on January 6th. Tuesday, the latest consumer confidence report will be released. The survey is a good indicator of what the economy will look like in the months ahead as people decide to spend or save based on costs. And also Tuesday, May 3rd, voters head to the polls in Ohio for primaries due to conflicts over election maps. Some local races will not be on the ballot, again, in the Ohio primaries there. Now, masks are now optional on public transportation, but is it safe to take them off? A doctor's going to weigh in on that just ahead.
Immigration fallout. I'm Christine Frizzell with a look at the evolving debate over Title 42 and new indications it's about to get a lot more heated.
A quick look now at our top stories right now. Masks now optional on planes, trains, and public buses. The DOJ appealing the decision made by a Trump-appointed federal judge. Mortgage rates at the highest level seen in more than a decade. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage average now 5.11%, and experts say it's likely going to get even higher. And the Florida legislature has voted to strip Disney of its protected status after a dispute over the measure known by critics as the Don't Say Gay law. The challenges at the southern border are piling up. NBC News reporting U.S. border agencies could run out of money in July if Title 42 is lifted next month and tens of thousands of migrants come to the U.S. to claim asylum. National correspondent Christine Frizzell digs deeper into what's on the horizon.
Just a few miles from a Texas border crossing, this is the scene in Reynosa, Mexico. Tent camps for thousands of migrants waiting for Title 42 to be lifted. The Department of Homeland Security predicts once the pandemic public health order is lifted, about 18,000 people a day may arrive. An impossible task for already overwhelmed border officials.
From Del Rio all the way down to Brownsville, they're operating at 40%. That means that 60% of the men and women are changing diapers, making food, taking care of migrants at those border processing centers.
Some local sheriffs in border communities now asking for outside help.
We don't have the resources on the brush itself. This is why I'm kind of looking ahead and bringing in the State Guard or National Guard to come in.
CBP agents say with so much of the border left unpatrolled, an influx of drugs is entering the country, sharing photos like this. This entire debate is expected to come to a head next week on Capitol Hill when Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas faces questions from lawmakers. There is every expectation this hearing will get heated and tense and raise the pressure on the White House to respond. Ranking Judiciary Committee member Jim Jordan in a letter is asking that Secretary Mayorkas be prepared to discuss data related to border encounters and gotaways, interior enforcement, and the Biden administration plan after Title 42 is rescinded, with a growing number of Democrats echoing those concerns. Still, immigrant advocates say immigration policies fall in the hands of lawmakers, not public health officials.
If they want to solve the border issue, they should pass an immigration bill, which they haven't done for decades. So they're pointing the finger at the wrong branch of government.
For now, every branch of government feeling the heat to do something in anticipation of what's to come. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting for the National Desk, America's News Now.
Meantime, Customs and Border Protection says they've detained more than 5,000 Ukrainians at the southern border in March. This marks the first official account of Ukrainians at the border since Russia's invasion started in February. Now, many have been released into the U.S. through humanitarian parole, allowing them to stay here temporarily. With the federal mask mandate being dropped and the Department of Justice announcing plans to appeal the federal ruling, how is the medical community reacting to all this? Well, this week, our Megan O'Halloran asked Dr. Erica Aragona what this means moving forward.
Well, I think we're seeing a lot of new emerging evidence weekly and daily, so it's really hard sometimes to keep track of it. What I'm telling a lot of my patients is this, and it's always been this. As new evidence comes out, as new viruses come out, right? We've got new strains where we don't really know how dangerous they're going to be. We're going to have to trust these academies, the CDC, the guideline from the federal government. There's a reason that they're in place for their checks and balances to recommend something or not. So when I'm telling my patients, listen, things have changed, it's because of a reason. And I know last week the U.S. reported an average of almost 35,000 new daily infections. That's about a 35% increase over the past couple of weeks. So I can see why the CDC was hesitant and wanted to extend the masks. But at the same time, I have to look at it from a patient standpoint. A lot of people are frustrated with not understanding why so many things have been lifted, right? People can go out in restaurants or in other forms of public arenas without having to mask up. So why is public transit any different? So I think a lot of the confusion is where there's outliers there. And when people are celebrating, I think it's because as a whole, our nation has been frustrated and people are excited to see change.
Well, now it poses a new dilemma here. Some airports have come out and said they're going to continue to require passengers to wear masks at the airport. But without streamlined, unified mask guidelines, how effective will the masking be with so many passengers coming and going from so many other places where it's no longer enforced?
Yeah, and I think that's a great question and what we really want to focus on. It's going to be difficult when we don't have a uniformed decision. I mean, I know that the CDC said it needed time to assess whether the recent rise in COVID infections would have an impact on hospital capacity. That's what we're looking at. Can we remove these safety measures because we don't have as dangerous of a variant? We don't really know, and that's where they were wanting to have more time. But at the same time, I know that the district judge in Tampa had said they hadn't really explained their reasonings for the mandate, and we've actually seen the overall numbers increase, but the hospitalizations and infections plummeting 85 to 90% compared to the peak back in January. So again, with all these numbers, it's really difficult. We're hearing one thing and then another. And at the end of the day, what I'm telling my patients is this is still a brand new virus for the past couple of years. We still have to protect ourselves. If you're at high risk, we still are recommending wearing masks. If you're not at high risk, you've been vaccinated, you don't have underlying health conditions, it is your choice to say, okay, I'm not going to mask up anymore, especially when the guidelines aren't there. So it kind of is a varying of opinions. And I'm a little bit concerned about that because I know it's going to be a little bit confusing for the general public when they're hearing things from different sides.
Sure. Well, what about the subvariant of the subvariant, BA.2.1.2.1 circulating? If you were infected with the subvariant, are you in the clear and protected from the subvariant? And how long are people typically protected with this natural immunity?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I get it all the time in my practice. And you know what we're seeing, unfortunately, is people can get reinfected over and over. And sometimes we don't know why. So just being exposed or testing positive for COVID and certain variants isn't a guarantee that you won't get the other variant or the next mutation after. So it's really tricky in that sense. We know the vaccines in general have protected against severe disease, but even with vaccines, you can get infected and test positive for COVID. So I think by and large, the biggest thing we can do is protect ourselves by staying healthy, protecting our immune systems, getting adequate rest, having healthy lifestyles, getting vaccinated, and following up with your doctor regularly, because this virus keeps changing. And it's frustrating from a healthcare perspective too. Certainly something I haven't seen in my career before.
Well, Dr. Erica, thanks for coming on the show and giving us some medical perspective on all of this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And still ahead, rising costs not affecting just humans.
Anytime that there is economic uncertainty, we start to see animal shelters start to fill up.
The desperate situation right now seen in shelters across the country. And can the recessions of the past keep us from a recession in the future? Our fact check team investigating. We're back in 90 seconds. This is the National Desk, America's News Now. From animals abandoned in Ohio due to inflation to Google bringing new jobs to Virginia. We're taking the pulse of America, and we start with police in New York making some adjustments now that marijuana use is legal there.
It's now legal to walk down the street in New York State smoking weed.
It's a different aroma on the streets in downtown Saratoga.
It's something the officers in the Saratoga Springs Police Department had to adapt to.
And our officers came around with that.
The legislation is not as clear-cut as with alcohol. There's no well-known level like 0.08 blood alcohol content. When it comes to impaired driving,
we're going to look for their speech patterns, how their eyes are moving or what their eyes look like.
We rely quite a bit more on drug recognition experts.
There's no tool that they know of yet to help them test for THC levels. Saratoga Springs Public Safety is looking at ways to safely move forward as dispensaries open and marijuana sales expand across the state.
So we're going to need to have additional enforcement mechanisms, more police officers out on the street to make sure that marijuana sales don't happen as street transactions.
Google welcomed Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin to the company's Reston office, giving the governor a tour of its data center and the places where Google employees have some fun.
Google plans to invest more than $300 million in Virginia this year. Virginia, yes. That's an applause line.
On top of Google's expansion in Virginia, which means more jobs, Google also announced a grant of $250,000 to Code VA.
We will be making Grow with Google professional certificates accessible to all 23 community colleges and 5 higher education centers in the state.
To build a network of computer science lab schools across the Commonwealth.
Virginia will be joining the National Governors Association K-12 Computer Science Compact.
We're going to double down on our computer science curriculum and our K-12 curriculum.
From stray dogs and cats to, yes, a pair of roosters. In the first 4 months of 2022, more than 2,000 animals have come through Cincinnati Animal Care.
Common theory is that it's dogs being returned after everybody rushed out to get pets during the pandemic. And that's just not what we're seeing.
However, one pandemic effect keeping the shelter at capacity could be tied to rising inflation across our nation.
Anytime that there's economic uncertainty, we start to see animal shelters start to fill up.
SPCA leaders say they've seen an 18% increase in emissions compared to the first 4 months of last year. During the pandemic, they pushed fostering instead of adoption.
That gets the dogs and cats out of the facility, into a home, kind of get a feel for, is a dog or a cat right for you?
Animal Care also has a huge fostering program with 700 volunteers. But these animals are in need of forever homes now.
Well, economists and major banks warning of a coming recession, reminding some people of the Great Recession back in 2008. Our fact-check team looking at whether recessions of the past provide any guidance for the financial issues that we are now experiencing.
The high prices you're seeing right now are similar to what folks across the country paid back through in the 1970s. Our investigative producers went back in time to see if history can give us a glimpse of what we might be in for in the near future and some important context here. Janae, we first start with you tonight.
So, Ryan, from December 1969 to November 1970, the country went through a mild recession. So the recession started as inflation climbed to over 5%. And in response, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates to cool the economy, just like we're seeing today.
So did those interest rate hikes help at all?
So the economy did slow down, but unemployment peaked at about 6%, and the GDP dropped to less than 1% during the recession. Now, since economic growth was stalled, the Fed lowered rates again in 1970 to rev things back up, so the interest rate hike wasn't a perfect fix.
And that's right. And then from 1973 to 1975, the U.S. faced a 16-month-long recession, which was largely caused by an oil embargo placed on the U.S., a drop in manufacturing jobs, the war in Vietnam, and a 1973 global stock market crash. President Nixon also contributed when he shocked the market by instituting price and wage freezes in an attempt to drive down inflation. But these measures failed and resulted in stagflation, with 5 quarters of negative GDP growth and doubling the unemployment rate to 8.8%. Some worry that with high gas prices and inflation, our economy resembles the stagflation we saw in the 70s. But currently, the unemployment rate is too low at 3.6% for that to happen. Economic experts say if there's a pullback on consumer demand and spending, we could be headed for stagflation, but for now, things look okay.
Janae and Connor tonight with that important breakdown in context. Thank you. The Fact Check team will continue to follow developments on this and several other issues. You can also read this story with links to where they found their information on our website, thenationaldesk.com.
A chemical found in things like umbrellas, carpets, even food wrappers found inside of wildlife. In this week's Inside Your World, we're breaking down what this could mean for human health. And mortgage rates up, mask mandates in question. Our Capitol Hill team looking ahead at what to watch in Washington this coming week. You're watching the National Desk, America's News Now. You can watch us live weekdays from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. We're back after this.
Welcome back to TND. Our Washington Bureau's correspondents, producers, videographers, and editors are covering Capitol Hill and D.C. every day to report the important issues facing the country and how they impact you. Two of our correspondents, Scott Thuman and Atra Elnishar, are here with us to share their reporting and their insights. Scott, the battle over mask mandates continues. What are you hearing?
Yeah, well, what we're hearing are more examples of confusion. People not really sure where the applies rule and which rules are going to be the ones that dominate their behaviors moving forward. So you take a look at places like Philadelphia and New York and Los Angeles that have instituted their own local transit rules that may contrast this new decision to allow people to take off their masks, make it optional on planes and in airports. But what's most telling is I spoke with people in the airline industry, and they said what's really holding them back or causing problems for getting travelers back into the United States, especially from overseas, and bringing in more income, isn't just this initial mask rule, but it's actually this hang up for international travel, that people have to take tests 24 hours before departures getting to the United States, that they have to get visitor visas that, because of the backlog through COVID, sometimes last up to 300 days in worst case scenarios. So this is one element of it. The White House continuing to issue guidance, relying on the CDC. Is this argument political or is it science-based? You're going to hear from both sides as this continues.
And Atra, turning to the economy real quick, housing prices up, mortgage rates up. What's the latest? What are you looking for in the coming days?
Yeah, it's getting more and more expensive to become a homeowner. And likely as a direct result of that, we're seeing fewer people purchase homes. Sales are dropping a bit. And also fewer people say that they think they'll ever be able to buy a home. So we saw data this week from the National Association of Realtors that found that the average home price in March was $375,000. And that's the highest it's ever been since they started keeping record of this kind of thing 23 years ago. So mortgage rates also up. Last week, our eyes were huge at the number of 5% for a average rate of a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. This week, it's at 5.11%. So we crunched the numbers and we figured that if you had bought that average home for $375,000 back in January with a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, you'd be paying about, on average, per month, $300 less than if you did all those exact same things and locked it in today. So really, people who bought a home 3 months ago are in a better position than people who are buying now. And this is all really daunting for people looking to get into the market and purchase a home perhaps for the first time. According to a survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, only 43.3% of renters believe that they'll ever be able to own a home. And that's the first time that that number's dropped below 50 in the survey's history. So what we're going to be watching for is how much this demand drops, and if that perhaps gives a silver lining to the supply side of things, which of course is trying to catch up and build as quickly as they can for all the Americans that are looking to buy a home.
Yeah, and this comes amid pessimism among Americans about the economy and growing pessimism among economic experts and economists about maybe a potential recession down the road. Scott, how is President Biden dealing with all this pessimism in the economy?
Well, at least politically, it looked like he's swimming upstream a lot of the time, and that's not an unfair assessment. The president knows that. That's why we saw him on the road Thursday in Portland, Oregon, Friday, Seattle, Washington, pitching ways to bring down healthcare costs, to fight inflation as well, and really kind of point to the scoreboard a little bit. Say, hey, look, America, I have overseen what now is an allowance of $2 trillion to help build back the American infrastructure. That'll get jobs, that'll get ready projects underway that can improve things like supply chain issues and just overall economic figures. But also, he's saying through his American Rescue Plan that he's going to make life better. The reason the president has to do this is because he is underwater in his numbers right now. Approval ratings are down. So if he can get out there and he can say, hey, look what I'm doing to relieve student loan debt. Look what's happened with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We just released and sold the first 30 million barrels out there into the system. And that's going to be an ease for people at the gas pump. It's also going to help them heat their homes. These are all moments that the president can look to and say, hey, don't give up on Democrats yet. We still have something to provide for you. And we know the midterms are coming up, but we're not the bad guys.
Trying to point to the positive as well. People are dealing with higher prices. Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman, National Correspondent Atra Elnishar. Thank you. Eugene, back to you.
All right, thanks to our Capitol Hill team. Animals contaminated by a toxic chemical found in everyday items.
Exposing people to a chemical that can give them cancer or cause their death is unacceptable.
Where those chemicals are coming from and where hunters are being warned, do not eat. Right now, some new concerns are being raised about a toxic chemical after it was found inside of wild animals. PFAs are used in waterproof clothing, nonstick pans, and some other everyday items, and now they're being studied for their potential impact on people. The National Desk's Mark Hyman explains in this week's Inside Your World.
Maine is known for its landscapes, cliff-lined beaches, rolling rivers, and sprawling forests. A popular destination for hunting and fishing. It's no wonder the state is nicknamed Vacation Land. But a recent toxic discovery revealed a new chapter in a growing environmental crisis. Widespread contamination from a set of chemicals known as PFAS, which have been connected to cancer and other health problems in people.
When I found out personally about this PFAS contamination, I was shattered, to be honest with you.
The news came this past fall. 5 deer, sampled here in Fairfield, just outside the state capital of Augusta, tested positive for PFAS. The contaminated deer prompted a do not eat advisory for meat harvested in the surrounding area. For the executive director of the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine, David Trahan, it was a wake-up call.
Our wildlife are the canary in the coal mine. If it's in those animals, it's in everything else. The deer have to get it somewhere. They forage on the edges of fields, the edges of forests. That's where we grow our food. So for me, I immediately connected the dots.
The culprit is believed to be biosolids, sludge from sewage waste widely used as fertilizer. It can contain PFAS, which is absorbed in the soil, contaminating wildlife, livestock, and agriculture.
I feel like every time we turn and look for PFAS somewhere new, we're finding it.
It's a serious concern for Sydney Evans, science analyst at the Environmental Working Group, who told Inside Your World Investigates the problem of PFAS sludge extends far beyond Maine.
An EWG report that just came out estimates that 5% of all crop fields could be using sewage sludge as fertilizer. And so if PFAS in biosolids is as ubiquitous as it appears, forever chemicals could be contaminating nearly 20 million acres of U.S. cropland.
New Hampshire, Vermont, and Michigan have already identified PFAS and biosolids used on their land. But there's a patchwork of rules when it comes to regulating the problem.
There are some states where they're requiring testing of biosolids for PFAS specifically, and there are other states that are on the verge of banning it altogether. But I think the question is really, why is it a state's issue at all at this point? Because this affects everyone, and it doesn't stop at the borders. There are no limits on that kind of contamination, at the national level at least. That's the ultimate problem.
And a solution may be years away. The EPA is working on setting federal standards when it comes to PFAS in biosolids. But a report is not expected for at least 2 years. In the meantime, Maine has taken action, officials have imposed a limit on PFAS in biosolids, with a full ban on the sludge now being considered.
You're going to see Maine, this little old state, Maine, way up in the corner. You're going to see us lead on this. We've got to figure this thing out, because exposing people to a chemical that can give them cancer or cause their death is unacceptable. I'm often told that people don't get involved until the wolf's at the door. Well, the wolf's at the door, you just haven't opened it yet.
For Inside Your World Investigates, I'm Mark Hyman.
And that's it for this weekend edition of the National Desk, America's News Now. Don't forget, you can watch us live from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Check your local listings. You can also watch us online and catch up with the latest headlines on thenationaldesk.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Eugene Ramirez. Have a great rest of your weekend.